Alright, you guys, so I've been wanting to do something when we hit 100,000 views on the channel. Currently, at the time of recording this is the 90,000 mark, so we're not too far away. I put out a poll, and I gave you guys 4 options to vote on, and the most popular option was what if Ash was born in Kalos. So, that's going to be the 100,000 view special, and this is going to be the first part, but I want to set a couple of ground rules because there's something I want to try with this one. First things first, I spent a lot of time writing scripts trying to get things right for you guys. This one, I want to kind of do a little bit differently. So instead of having a full-blown script, I'm going to try and just do it without a script. I'm going to try and do it just talking with the thoughts that come into my head at that current time to build the story. I want to see how well received this is, and I want to see exactly where we can take this. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the part. This is Ash Ketchum. Welcome to the Kalos region, where Ash's home is a town in the southern eastern part of Kalos known as Ambrit Town. Here, it is a coastal town, and it is known for its fishing as well as its abundance of fossil-type Pokemon. Ash spends most of his days playing around the mines, as a lot of the miners spend a lot of the time digging up old fossil-type Pokemon and taking them back to the museum to get resurrected for study. When Ash was about 7 years old, one of the miners actually gifted him a fossil, but unfortunately, nobody would take him seriously. They all thought it was a rock, except for him and the miner. Ash knew that it's a fossil, but nobody wanted to give him the time of day. So, the time of Ash's 10th birthday comes, and it's a very special day indeed, developed at Lysander Labs in order to become a great trainer, and he aims to challenge the Kalos League. Ash inevitably wakes up late on this day and arrives late to the function where Lysander was, and unfortunately misses his chance to meet the philanthropist. But then Ash hears that he has the opportunity to still meet him, as Lysander is heading north of the city, so Ash takes off running, trying to meet up with Lysander, but to no avail. He eventually ends up getting lost in the forest outside of his hometown, and after some time of looking around, he ends up stumbling into a ravine and getting caught. This is unfortunate for him, as the wild Pokemon in the area have been known to be aggressive. Just then, Ash is attacked by a Pokemon. He doesn't know what kind of Pokemon it is, and he has no way to defend himself. This Pokemon is extremely fierce, but seems to be very, very young. Then, this Pokemon makes a move for Ash. It is trying to scare him out of its territory, but Ash doesn't know that it's a threat. And then, out of nowhere, a flamethrower interrupts the Pokemon, knocking it back and away from Ash. Ash looks up, and there stands a majestic-looking Pokemon, a fire type, and at its side is its trainer. Ash knows this person. It's the person that he was trying to meet, Lysander. Lysander then orders his Pyroar to attack again with another flamethrower. It connects with the Pokemon, but the Pokemon refuses to stay down, and it then attacks Lysander's Pyroar. Lysander has no choice. He orders Pyroar to use a Hyper Voice, stunning the Pokemon, and then he throws a Pokeball at it and catches it. He then slides down the ravine to where Ash is and asks if he is okay. Ash looks up at Lysander and he says, "Wow, Lysander, I can't believe it," even forgetting that he was just in danger. Lysander then snaps him back to reality. "Hey, kid, are you alright?" Ash says, "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry." Ash says, "I actually came out to look for you." Lysander says, "For me?" Ash says, "Yeah, I wanted to introduce myself to you. You see, today's my 10th birthday, and I was in hopes of getting a Pokemon, but I have to travel to Lumio City in order to receive a starter-type Pokemon. But that is one long travel to have without a Pokemon." Lysander says, "Yeah, that is quite the trip, especially for somebody without a Pokemon." Ash then introduces himself and says that he's lived here in Ambrit Town for most of his life. He does want to travel, and he wants to challenge the Kalos League, and he hopes to use the technologies developed by Lysander and his company Lysander Labs to make that a possibility. Lysander, with a laugh, says, "Oh, is that so?" He goes, "You're quite ambitious." Ash says, "Yeah, I intend to also win the Kalos League." Lysander laughs again. He says, "Really? Well then, you're going to need some help." He looks at Ash and he says, "You know what? How about this? Since how it's your birthday, how about a gift?" And he hands him the Pokeball with the Pokemon inside. He says, "Here, it's the perfect chance for you to test your skills as a trainer, to get to know this Pokemon." Ash says, "For me?" Lysander says, "Yeah, for you. After all, you said you don't have a Pokemon and you want to start out on a journey. This way, you won't have to make the trip to Lumio City in order to get your first Pokemon. Now you have it, and you can plan your journey in any way you want." Ash says, "Wow, thank you. I really appreciate it." Lysander says, "And I'm also very good friends with Professor Sycamore. Just so happens I have this. And he hands Ash Pokédex. Ash says, really? He goes, yeah. Just flip it open and type in your name and then swipe your trainer ID card and it'll register you and then it'll be yours. Ash does so. And then once Ash registers it, he links the Pokeball with the Pokédex and it flashes and it tells him the Pokemon and what kind it was. And as Ash registers with the Pokédex, it registers the Pokemon that Lysander had given him and it reads Absol, the disaster Pokemon. It appears when it senses impending natural disaster. As a result, it was mistaken as a Doombringer. Lysander says, don't let the preconceived notion of Absol being a bad Pokemon detour you from wanting to be its trainer. It can be a very powerful Pokemon. You just have to show it the love and respect that it needs. Lysander then helps Ash out of the ravine, and he asks Ash if he is okay to walk back to Ambrite Town by himself. Ash says, yeah, thank you, sir. Lysander says, great. Well, I have to get going to my next press conference, but I look forward to seeing you again. With that, they part ways, and Ash heads home. Later on, at the house, when his mom finally comes home, Ash shows her the Pokeball and explains to her what happened. She goes, well, even though you were late, at least you did get the chance to meet Lysander. Ash is super excited. With his mom's blessing, he gets the chance to head out on his own journey. But there is one thing that Ash has to do first. He is determined to prove that this rock that he has is actually a fossil. So now that he is a registered Pokemon trainer, he is allowed to enter the museum and speak with the specialist that resurrects fossils. And he uses this to his advantage. He enters the museum and he demands that they look at the rock. He knows that this is a Pokemon. After all, the miner said so. And now that Ash is a trainer, they can't say no to him. So they take the rock, and after some time of looking at it, they come back and they tell Ash that it is just a rock. There is no fossil. Ash is deeply disappointed. He thought for sure that there would be a fossil inside the rock, but there's nothing he can do about it. So that night, he heads back to the house, and he lets Absol out of the ball for the first time, and it is immediately apparent that Absol is not happy with being caught. It starts to attack Ash once again, and not only that, but it starts to destroy most of Ash's room, using tackle attack and scratches, trying just to get away from Ash. Eventually, it is able to bust out of a window and it takes off back into the forest, and Ash has to give chase. After a while, Ash is finally able to catch up to it. Absol is tired. It's been running, and it seems like this isn't a normal part of the region that it is from. Ash does his best to approach it, and even though Absol is worn out, it still makes a beeline for Ash, trying to detour it. All he wants is for Ash to go away, but Ash, being Ash, refuses to give up. Ash is determined to make Absol his partner, so he continues to push through the repeated attacks that Absol launches at it until Absol just eventually collapses from pure fatigue. With that, Ash recalls it back into the ball and takes it back home. Once home, he lets it out of the ball, and Absol's faint. Ash's mom comes in and asks what happened, and Ash explains to it. She said, yeah, this Absol looks pretty young, kind of like you. Probably hasn't had much human contact either, so you're gonna have to work with it. You're gonna need to be patient. It's not gonna trust you or many humans overnight. Ash takes his mom's advice, and with that, they make Absol as comfortable as possible, and Ash falls asleep next to it. The next morning, Absol wakes up, and it's kind of in a panic, but then it sees Ash and how he's just laying there. He stayed with it all night. Absol, still being fatigued from all running and battling it's been doing, doesn't really have anywhere else to go, so it decides to make the best of the situation and just goes back to sleep. A few hours later, Ash awakes and Absol isn't there. Ash starts to panic, thinking that it ran off again, but then he heads downstairs and he sees that Absol is with Ash's mom. It is actually eating and allowing Ash's mom to touch it, to pet it on its head, and to show it some sort of kindness. It seems to be a lot less on edge than it was yesterday. This gives Ash some hope, and it also eases him a little bit, as he's been kind of on edge ever since the first encounter with Absol. So Ash makes an attempt to try and approach Absol. Absol is apprehensive towards Ash, as he and Absol are kind of in the same boat. They're similar in age, they're both very young, and they're both very impetuous. But Absol does allow Ash to get close to it. Ash is excited about this, and Ash's mom tells him, listen, don't get too carried away. Absol is still kind of tired, and it's unsure how to feel about you right now, so you need to take precautions. This Pokemon hasn't had a lot of human contact, so you got to be patient. Ash says, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So Ash gives it to the space, and over the next couple of days, Ash and Absol kind of come around to each other, even to the point to where Absol starts sleeping in Ash's room with him. Then comes the day when Ash is actually allowed to set out on his Pokemon journey. He was waiting to register at the Pokemon Center, so he finally got the opportunity to, and he headed to the center while Absol was sleeping. He got registered into the Pokédex, and now he can challenge the Callously, and he is super super excited. All he can think about is his first gym battle. So with that, he rushes home to get Absol. After all, Absol is his Pokemon, and they're going to go on a journey together. Ash not actually thinking about Absol's feelings. So when Ash gets home, he busts in the door, and Absol is there. It's a little taken back by Ash's excitement, but it's something that Absol has come to be okay with, mostly. But Ash tells it that they are ready, and they will be leaving today to go on their Pokemon journey. Absol doesn't understand what Ash is saying, but Ash intends to force it whether it wants to go or not. So Ash pulls out the Pokeball. This sets off Absol. It does not want to return to the ball, and almost like the first day when Ash let it out of the ball, it starts attacking again. This time, Ash's mom is present for this, and Absol will not calm down. It's attacking relentlessly, and eventually it gets past Ash and his mom, and it heads outside, and it takes off into town. This is a bad thing, as some of the town folk around here are a little bit superstitious, and most of them don't know that Ash has an Absol. So Ash and his mom take off after it, looking for it left and right, asking anybody if they've seen a white Pokemon, but not specifically stating that it was an Absol. Then a bit of an explosion happens at the edge of town, so Ash and his mom head in that direction, and it's Absol. One of the local trainers saw it and was thrown off by it. He's a believer in the Pokédex, and he's a believer in the ill omen, so he wanted to get rid of Absol in any way that he can, and he had his Minshao try to take it out. Absol did its best to try and defend itself, but the Minshao is too strong for it. Upon arriving, Absol is laying on the ground in defeat, and the trainer is standing victorious over Absol and his Minshao, proclaiming that he saved the town from impending disaster because he was able to take out the Absol. Ash looked at the trainer and runs over to Absol, trying to get it to wake up, asking it if it's okay. The trainer says, This Pokemon is yours? And Ash says, yes, this is my Pokemon, and how dare you attack? Trainer says, what do you mean how dare I attack it? It entered our town, and all they do is bring bad luck with them. Ash says, where did you hear that from? Pokédex? Some random myth? That's never been proven. The trainer gets silent, and Ash says, see, how dare you attack my Pokemon? Absol slightly starts to wake up to this, and it sees that Ash is defending it. The trainer then orders Minshao to attack Absol again, because he wants Absol to be gone. Ash stands in the way, not letting the Minshao get close to it, taking the blow. Absol sees this. He can see that Ash isn't like the other humans. He actually wants to protect it. Absol struggles to stand back up, but eventually gets to its 4 feet. It looks at Ash, and it looks at the Minshao. And the next time the Minshao tries to attack and Ash tries to intercept, Absol gets in the way, taking the blow. It was a karate chop, and Absol takes a lot of damage, being knocked down. Ash calls to Absol. He doesn't know what to do, but Ash's mom tells him, Ash, this is your first Pokemon battle. You need to give Absol commands. Absol looks back at Ash. It's on the same page. It wants to battle with it. He sees that Ash cares for it, and that Ash doesn't want to bring any harm to it. He feels like he can trust this human, even though he's been unable to trust humans before. So Ash pulls out his Pokédex, and he learns that Absol's moves are currently Quick Attack and Bite. So Ash makes the choice. He calls for a Quick Attack, and it actually connects, catching the Minshao off guard. But then Ash orders a Bite, which does connect, but it causes minimum damage. And Absol is tired. It's unable to keep up because of the attacks from the trainer and its Minshao. So the trainer can see this. The trainer doesn't like that Ash is giving the Absol commands. So it orders its Minshao to run in and to use a Focus Punch. Ash, knowing that dark types are weak to fighting types, knows that he's got to block this somehow, but he doesn't know what to do. But Absol does know what to do. Its horn starts to glow, and Ash can see this. Ash pulls out the Pokédex, and it tells him that the move is known as Razor Wind. Blades of wind hit the opposing Pokemon, and critical hits will land more easily. Ash sees this, and he orders Absol to fire a Razor Wind. This connects with the Minshao, causing it to flinch. Ash then orders another Quick Attack, and Absol rushes in to put it down. The trainer doesn't like this, and he recalls his Minshao, and he tells Ash that he's going to be sorry. They will be back, and next time he's going to bring more people to run Absol out of town. As Ash celebrates his first ever Pokemon victory, Absol collapses from pure exhaustion, again as it has not had enough time to heal. Ash is then shocked back to reality by this. So him and his mom gather it up and they head back to Ash's house. Later on, after many hours have passed and nightfall has come, Absol finally wakes up, and Ash is there to greet it, and he asks if it's okay. Absol nods, but it's in pain. Ash's mom then comes into the room, and she tells Ash that Absol is going to take a couple of days to heal up, but once they heal up, maybe Ash should consider either heading out on his journey or releasing Absol. She says maybe Absol shouldn't be your first Pokemon. After all, it's been a difficult time ever since it was gifted to you, and it seems like Absol should be in the wild. Ash, even though he's 10 years old, he does feel for Absol. He doesn't want to force it into a position that it can't be in. Then Ash and his mom hear a noise from outside. They look out the window, and the trainer from earlier has returned. And not only that, he's brought some friends. They intend to run Absol out of town. They don't want it in their town. After all, it's just going to bring nothing but bad luck. Ash's mom tries to go outside to talk some sense into these guys, but they're not having it. They want nothing to do with her. They order Ash to bring Absol outside so they can dispose of it properly. But Ash refuses. He tells Absol that they have to get away, but Absol is too hurt to move. Ash then pulls out the Pokeball and he says, Absol, you need to get inside. But Absol refuses. Doesn't want to go back into the ball. Does not like being in the ball. Ash then looks at Absol and says, well then, what do you want to do? Absol looks to the window where the trainers are, and he looks at Ash, and it struggles to stand up. It's choosing to fight. And that's all we have for part 1 of What If Ash Was Born in Kalos. Tell me, what do you guys think of this? What do you think of the whole no script thing, as I'm literally just sitting here recording it from a microphone? What do you think about Ash being gifted an Absol from Lysander? And of course, what do you think about the setting of him starting out in Ambrite Town? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you liked the video, please leave a like down below, and don't forget to subscribe and share the video so that we can get more people into the Ronin clan. And if you want to talk to other people in the Ronin clan, please join the Discord in the description below. I will see you in the next video.